10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the John DeVito Show. It is Sunday at 11 a.m. And yes, this is a surprise show today. And the reason why I'm on today is, unfortunately, my son's baseball team got mercied today in the fifth inning. So we are home early. Didn't expect to be home early. So we figured being home early, I would come on and do a little bit of a show talking about something that's been on my mind lately. And it's really kind of bothering me. And we're not seeing anyone talk about this. And I don't understand how, again, we are letting something like this just completely sneak by. Nobody's talking about it. And yet again, we are seeing that the media just is not honestly reporting on the things that are happening in this country right now. So again, the media, they're doing what they do, and they are just not reporting on things like they should be. So it's pretty disgusting, pretty sad that these things are happening. And what we're going to do here is we are going to shed some light on what the media, the fake media, is yet again, that's right, not reporting on. So today we're not going to have call-ins. It's going to be just me ranting for a little bit, and then I'm going to wrap this thing up. It is live right now on Podbean, but we're going to publish it later so everybody can hear it on all the different platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, before I get into my topic of the day, I have to first talk about my excitement about the New England Patriots draft this year. Now, I know there are a lot of people out there that don't like the Patriots. I get that. They win. 6 Super Bowls. Of course, we gave away the GOAT, sent him down to Tampa Bay, and I was cheering for him last year to win with Tampa Bay, and he did. Last year, we had a 7-9 season, didn't do particularly well, and it is what it is. So that's okay. But in the draft, we got Alabama quarterback Mac Jones, and I could not be more happy about that. Now, there are some questions about whether or not this guy's going to be able to play in the NFL, but if anybody can turn him into a good quarterback, it'll be Belichick, at the professional level. I mean, he was obviously a great college quarterback, and it's certainly going to be a big jump from even Division I college football at Alabama as a national champion to coming into the NFL. But to me, he looks like he's got the intangibles to be, again, that winning quarterback. I mean, he's already proved he could win. He had a great team around him. But I think that's what the Patriots are going to do also. They're going to build a great team around Tom Brady, around Mac Jones as well, like they did with Tom Brady. So in Patriots Nation, we're excited up here. I think it was a good pick. We had the 15th pick in the draft, and we also picked some other good players. A great defensive tackle out of Alabama, 6'5", 310 pounds, who looks like he can really shake things up in the middle. So there's some hope again for the Patriots that maybe they'll turn some things around. And I know that most of you out there are hoping they go into like a 10 or 15-year hole where they're at the bottom of the NFL. But you have to understand now, when I was a kid, that's what they were. They were the joke of the NFL for literally like 25 years of my life, where they were like last place. I mean, they were the Jets. They were the worst team in the NFL every year. And it was so nice to see them win for a period of time with the GOAT as their quarterback. But I will say this upcoming year, man, I'm going to be rooting for Tampa Bay again. I can't not root for Tom Brady. I know a lot of people in New England feel differently, but I do not. So anyway, that's my little sports comment here this morning. What I really want to talk about today is what's happening again in this country. And, the left, the media, they're not talking about it. And to me, this is so obvious. It's so obvious as to what I'm seeing. Now, as we saw, last year, Joe Biden supposedly won the election. He supposedly beat Donald Trump. Donald Trump had 75 million votes. That blew away Obama. That would have been the most votes in American history by any president. And when he went to bed, or when we all went to bed that night, we had our president, Donald Trump was in the lead. He was winning. He was doing his thing. And then all of a sudden you wake up in the morning and you find out overnight something amazing happened, that Joe Biden came in and hit 84 million votes, which was by far the most in American history. Good morning, Chronic. How are you? Good to see you. So anyway, Biden supposedly got 84 million votes. Okay. And again, it was a crazy year. We had COVID going on. So the campaigning was different. You had Trump that was out doing his rallies, and there were a lot of people showing up. And Biden played it the other way. He was campaigning out of his, as everyone said, his basement. And he did have some rallies, but there was social distancing. They didn't have big crowds. So it was kind of really hard to gauge the number of people that were actually excited about about Joe Biden. So anyway, I'm not going to talk about, the voting conspiracy. I mean, the Republicans, the 75 million that voted for Trump, all feel that something crazy happened in this election. They feel like there was widespread cheating. They feel that the Dominion machines, they feel that the mail-in ballots, the drop boxes, and a variety of different, vehicles were used to cheat Donald Trump out of the election. So again, they went through all the different channels. They went through election processes. They went to court in a lot of places. Of course, they're doing a forensic recount right now in Arizona, and the left media, number one, is trying to discredit it. The Democratic Party has already sued the state of Arizona, looking to stop this process from happening. And even if it does happen and it shows that there was cheating in the election, I'm sure the media and the Democratic Party is going to completely discredit any way of saying that there was maybe cheating in this election. But there are a lot of little things you can look at. And this really isn't even a little thing, but nobody is talking about it. The media is not talking about it, and I don't understand how they cannot talk about it. Is if you look at the presidential speech from last week, all right? Now, on my TikTok page, I posted like a grid. There was a grid that one company put out. It came from the Nielsen company who does the ratings, okay? And they factor in everything. And there were two reports that came out. The first report is, I agree completely. The first report is that Joe Biden had 11.6 million viewers watch his speech last week, okay? And then, that was a pretty low number. And then when that finally was looked into a little bit more, those were only the three major networks. When you figured in, the CNNs, the Foxes, the MSNBCs, the different vehicles that people could actually watch this speech on, it came out to be roughly 26 million people tuned in to watch Joe Biden address the nation. Okay. At first thought for me, I'm like, all right, that's not a bad number. It's a pretty good number of people tuning in. I tuned in for about 10 minutes. And because I'm more of a Trump guy, I got pissed off and I had to turn the channel. I couldn't watch it. So I'm not sure if my numbers went into that or not. But when you look at the 30-year history of the number of people that have tuned in for these presidential speeches. Now, if you go back to 2017, when Trump did his first speech to the nation, he had 47 million people tune in. So Biden had 26 million, 11 million on the major networks. And Trump, who was supposed to be one of the least popular presidents in the history of the world, if you listen to the Democrats, CNN, and MSNBC, he had 47 million people tune in. Now, I posted something on TikTok yesterday, and you get all the liberals coming out of the woodwork, coming out and saying, well, Trump was a train wreck. We all wanted to see what he said. That was the problem. We all wanted to see what comment Trump was going to make, so we were all tuning in. I'm sorry, not true. You can take all your liberal bullshit and leave it at the door. All right? That's not the truth. It's not the truth. Boo, welcome to the show. You may have ducked in and ducked up, but thanks for coming in. So anyway, if you look at the ratings, so Biden brought in 26 million viewers. This is a man who supposedly had 84 million people vote for him. By far, he blew Obama out of the water. He had 24 million more votes than Barack Obama. Give me a break. Obama was elected twice. He was elected twice, the first black president in this country. And you're going to tell me Biden got 24 million more votes than Obama. And when he got those 84 million votes, only 26 million people tuned in to watch his first major speech of his presidency. When Trump got 47 million, Obama had 60 million people, 60 million tune in for his first speech. So Obama got blown away in the number of votes that Joe Biden, pulled in. And you're telling me that Obama had 60 million people tune into his speech. Trump had 47 million and Biden had 26 million. And that does not scream fraud. That does not scream fraud. And again, I get it. I get it. This is Corona. We all have so much going on. We're all going to nightclubs. We're going to restaurants. We're traveling the globe. We just don't have time to tune in to watch a presidential speech. Oh, wait a minute. We're all trapped at home. We can't go out. We can't go anywhere without a mask. We're being forced to sit in our homes. I swear to God, my wife and I have literally broken Netflix. There's like nothing left for us to watch. We've moved on to Amazon. We've moved on to Hulu. We have literally watched every single decent binge-worthy show that there is where we're just searching for new things to watch. And that was one of the reasons why I tuned into the Biden speech. The reason why I tuned in is I wanted to see him speak. I wanted to see him fumble over himself. And I wanted to see him again, not be able to form a coherent sentence as he spoke like he's done so many times. To his credit, he actually got on and did a pretty decent job. I mean, he was reading, obviously, like they all do, reading off the teleprompters, reading off his notes, people probably speaking to his ears, I imagine, telling him what to say. But he did get up and give a decent speech. But when you look again at the numbers, Obama, 60 million viewers. Trump, 47 million viewers. Biden, 26 million viewers. 26. That is disgustingly low. And again, since they started taking these ratings and keeping track of this, it goes back all the way to 1993. That is almost 30 years ago, right? 30 years ago. This particular speech was the lowest rated speech of any president in 30 years. We're talking Clinton. We're talking George Bush Jr. We're talking anyone going back over all these years. Biden got 84 million votes, the most votes in the history of the country, but only had 26 million people tune into his speech. Really? Really? How can you possibly even justify this as even a half-truth at this point? In my mind, there is no doubt. There is no doubt whatsoever, right? I agree with you, Chronic. I agree. It's a good joke. And Grant, thanks for coming into the show. I appreciate it. For the people coming into the live, I appreciate it. I'm not doing a call-in show today. This is just a Sunday rant where this has been on my mind. It's been bothering me, and I've been wanting to get on and talk about it. So I've never seen, again, for a lot of you that come into my show pretty regularly, I'm 53 years old. I remember as far back, believe it or not, as Gerald Ford being our president. That's how fucking old I am, which is scary as shit. But I barely remember Gerald Ford when I was really little. I remember Jimmy Carter. I remember Ronald Reagan. I remember George Bush. I remember Clinton. Going way back in the day, I came from a Democratic family. I voted twice for Bill Clinton until he shook his little bony finger in our face and said, I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. And then, of course, we found out he blew his wad all over her fucking dress, used a cigar on her, whatever else. So we kind of found out he was full of shit. And since then, we found out he's raped like 15 different women. Cummings finally had a show. Yeah, that was a good one. I smoked, but I didn't inhale. Honestly, if you're a presidential candidate, now, most people have tried weed at one point in their lives. Again, I live in Massachusetts. Weed's legal. Do I enjoy the occasional gummy? Yes, I do. And you know what? If you're a presidential candidate and you look and you go, yeah, you know what? I smoked and I fucking inhaled. You're going to get more votes than lying. Anybody that knows anything about weed knows that if you friggin' smoked it, you inhaled the shit, all right? You didn't smoke and not inhale. So to completely try to insult the intelligence of the American people is so true. It's so true. So I remember a lot of presidents. I remember a lot of different periods in this country where we've been through a lot. When I was a kid growing up, I remembered worrying about the Soviet Union ending the world by attacking us in a nuclear war and basically ending all of society. That was a real panic when I was a kid that people worried about that. I remember climate issues such as acid rain. Then it was the big hole in the ozone layer. Then it was global warming. Now it's climate change. Who knows what it's going to be next? there's a cycle of everything in this country. But one thing I've never seen is I have never seen a cycle where we have the media controlling the American people like they are right now. There is literally no media outlet that is being honest. You've got the majority, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC. Most of these networks lean to the left, obviously. Then you got Fox that leans to the right. And you got, other networks that lean way right, other ones that lean way left. But you really don't have any source where you have a news agency that's actually reporting the truth to the American people. So we are left, all of us, to figure out what the truth is on our own. And when I see this here not being talked about, where you've got a president that supposedly pulled in 84 million votes and only 26 million people, probably 26 people, tuned in to see his presidential address. The lowest ratings in 30 years. How is that right? How is that accurate? How can that be truthful? It can't be. It can't be. It can't be. The American people, we all need to wake up. We all need to realize that we're being lied to. We all need to realize that we are being played. We are being played. We are being controlled like I've never seen before. Right now, the Democratic Party has a socialist and communist agenda like I have never experienced in my life. They are doing what they want, when they want. And, God forbid, if you happen to have a jar or a container of maple syrup in your fridge and it has to be Aunt Jemima, you're a racist, you're canceled. But, you can look at the border and you can look at the 20,000 children that are being held in disgusting facilities where they're all being exposed to COVID, where they're being sexually abused, where they're being physically abused, where they're being trafficked to different places. If you ask Biden and Kamala Harris, why haven't either one of them even been there to see what's going on? That doesn't matter. Children don't matter, right? Exactly. I love the Aunt Jemima. I liked Uncle Ben. I don't get what the fascination is. And it was funny. I heard a guy talking about all this canceled culture bullshit that we're dealing with right now. And if you look at Aunt Jemima, you look at Uncle Ben, you look at all the, the different mascots that are Native American that are being canceled in this country. If you really look at it, the only people who are being canceled are people of color. You're seeing basically, historical figures who are black being canceled. You still got the guy from KFC, alive and well on the KFC sign. And I'll be the first person to say, if you look at Colonel Sanders, he doesn't look like he was probably the most woke guy in the world back in the day. So, Colonel Sanders, don't know much about him, and I don't know what his life was about. So I can't really say. But if you look at the faces that have been canceled from companies, most of them are black faces. They're Native American faces. They're people of different races. And they've canceled those people out of society. And we've got this government that is like fueling rage in between all of us. You've got blacks fighting with whites. You've got, anti-police, police, people for the police. You've got people that are left-wing, right-wing. You've got people against abortion, for abortion. You're against the death penalty. You're for the death penalty. You believe in gay rights. You don't believe in gay rights. We are being divided at every single turn. And now the new division is this. Have you gotten your vaccination? Have you gotten your vaccination? Are you vaccinated or are you not vaccinated? Are you going to carry your vaccination card around? If you do, you don't have to wear a mask. But if you don't, put the mask on, shut up, because you're selfish. You don't care about anybody but yourself. You're a selfish person. It doesn't matter that the J&J shot's causing blood clots. It doesn't matter that a lot of people have been reported as dying from heart attacks and strokes because of the vaccines. Now, in full disclosure, I decided to take my vaccine. I live with a doctor. She was very, very persuasive with me. I'm in my 50s, and I decided to take the vaccine. I took my first shot of Moderna, had no problems. I got my second shot coming up in a couple of weeks. And I already told my wife, I'm like, listen, if I die because of this second shot, you're to blame. So if I'm dead and it's because of this shot, then I'm going to come back and haunt your ass, and you're never going to hear the end of it. I will be back in some form whatsoever. Chronic, you're probably better off, man. And that was my shot back in the day. I don't drink as much as I used to, but I remember I used to live in New York City, And when I first got out of college, and I had a good friend that lived in Brooklyn Heights. So I lived actually in Long Island. We used to hang out in New York City, and we, couldn't afford the drinks even back in the day. So we would literally get a bottle of tequila, and we would kill almost a full bottle of tequila between the two of us doing shots before we went out. And we were literally shit-faced by the time we got to the bars. But it saved us from having to buy, even back in the day, like $15 drinks in New York City. Who knows what they are now? Probably like $30 a drink. But yeah, tequila was always my shot. And I could do it without the salt, without the lime, just give it to me straight. And I've been in Mexico, had like the real shit down in Mexico, and tequila was always my favorite. Even today, I don't do as many shots anymore. But if I go out to a bar or something, one of my first drinks of choice is always a margarita because I love tequila, my absolute favorite. Rum, I like rum, not bad. I don't really drink it that much. I remember one of the most recent times I got really drunk was off Captain. So Captain Morgan and I had a good night, but then a rough morning the next day, unfortunately. So, but yeah, tequila and rum, probably more effective than Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and all the other shots. But I don't know, man. The things that happen in this country right now, it just seems like the whole left, they just believe hook, line, and sinker that there was no cheating in this election. I mean, as an American person, whether you're Democratic or Republican, I mean, how can you look at everything that happened and really believe that there was no malfeasance, that there was no cheating, that there was nothing that happened in that election? I mean, you had the most votes in American history. You had two presidents that got more votes than anyone's ever gotten in the past. You had vote dumps in the middle of the night. You got Arizona's now doing a forensic recount. The Democratic Party is fighting it. It's just crazy, the things that are going on. And then again, you got a guy that supposedly got 84 million votes. He can't get anybody to come out to a rally. He's got the lowest ratings in 30 years for his presidential address, even though everyone's sitting at home with nothing else to do because of COVID, but watch TV. So, he it's laughable to me. It's laughable. And the American people were just sitting back and we're letting it happen. Now, what happened also, I saw the other day that Giuliani was raided. So Trump's attorney was raided. And I've heard a lot of different stories about that. Now, one of the conspiracy theories I heard about Giuliani being raided was the FBI wanted to come in. They wanted to seize his computers because he has evidence on his computers, and they wanted to seize it, take control of it, and they wanted to basically get rid of the evidence that he has on the election fraud. Now, I'm not sure if that's accurate. I'm not sure if that's true. It could just be a conspiracy theory, but to me, it certainly makes sense that could be the case, right? It could be the case where they came in, they took his computers, they took his stuff, and supposedly they were raiding him looking for information. But how do you know they're not grabbing that information just to get rid of it, to make sure it doesn't come out? Now, I did see an interview where Giuliani was talking about he actually had the, hard drives from Hunter Biden's computer. And they didn't take those. But they took all of his hard drives. I'm not sure why that would be the case. So if you look at a lot of the things that happen in this country, you look at Joe Biden pulling in 26 million viewers, the lowest in 30 years after he got 84 million votes. You look at the White House and the Capitol building are still shut down. You get fencing all around the Capitol building and the White House. You look at, all these, you look at COVID, which is going on and on and on forever. We've got the vaccines out there. People are being told they still have to wear masks. When is the mask mandate going to end? When's it going to end? I mean, Joe Biden was nice enough to come out last week and say, well, finally we've got a lot of people that are being vaccinated, and it's okay for some of you now to take off the masks outside. My first response was, I haven't worn a fucking mask outside once. I mean, I'm not going to go outside and be 20 feet away from someone and wear a fucking mask. There's fresh air. Even my wife is a physician. She was saying the same thing. There's no point in wearing a mask outside. I mean, it's not helpful. It's not going to protect you. You don't need it. I get it if some people still feel you need to wear a mask inside. Now, I'm not one of those people that if I look at someone wearing a mask, that I look at them and go, oh, what an asshole. Why are they wearing a mask? If someone feels more comfortable wearing a mask, good for you. That's fine. It's a free country. If you feel the need to wear a mask because you are that concerned for your health about COVID, then you should wear a mask. You should feel safe. You should protect yourself, and you should do the things you need to do to feel good as a person. But if you're one of those people like me that doesn't believe you need to wear a mask any longer, then you shouldn't have to wear a mask. We are still living in a free country, and people will come out and say, well, this isn't about freedom. If you don't wear a mask, you're selfish. You only care about yourself. You're one of those people that's not willing to pitch in and do what they're supposed to do for the greater good. It's not true. That's not true. I choose not to live my life in fear. I am not going to live my life in fear. I'm not going to be a person that every day worries about, is today going to be the day I get into a car accident? Am I going to be diagnosed with cancer? Am I going to get pneumonia? Am I going to get the flu? Am I going to get COVID? Am I going to get this, that, and the other thing? I'm not going to live my life in fear and be afraid. Now, the other day, I live in Massachusetts, as a lot of you know. I drove up to New Hampshire. That's actually my home state. And for people that don't live in New England, the states are really small up here. I mean, you can literally drive from like the southern point in Connecticut and get to New Hampshire in like 2 hours. So for me, it takes like an hour and 15 minutes from my house to get to the town my dad lives in, which is in southern New Hampshire. So the governor of New Hampshire, Governor Sununu, who I actually know his family somewhat from growing up in New Hampshire. My wife actually went to school with him. He got rid of the mask mandate in the state of New Hampshire, saying that indoors and outdoors, you no longer need to wear a mask. Now, for those people not familiar with the demographics of New England, you know, Vermont is very liberal, Massachusetts very liberal, Connecticut very liberal, Rhode Island very liberal. New Hampshire is the one state that's been historically very Republican. And if you're from Texas and if you listen to this show, New Hampshire is a lot like a little version of Texas. You know, they have a lot more laid back gun laws. The state motto is live free or die. There's no motorcycle helmet law. There's no seatbelt law. They believe in freedom in the state of New Hampshire. So Governor Sununu decided it's time to get rid of the mask mandate. The numbers are coming down. People should not be forced to wear these masks day in and day out, right? And he removed it. So I figured I had to go up and get something for my father. He was having a problem with one of the pumps in his basement. So I just needed to go get like something small at a Home Depot. So I went up to New Hampshire and I went into the Home Depot with no mask on. I'm like, you know what? Damn it. I'm going in without a mask, even though it felt like it was like a guilty pleasure, like I was doing something wrong. Kind of like, you know, as a young kid, you know, Christmas Eve, you're searching through your parents' closets to find presents. That's kind of what I felt like I was doing something evil. You know, I was going into a store without my mask. I went into the store in New Hampshire, and literally, even though there was no mask mandate in the state of New Hampshire, I was the only person in there without a mask. Everyone had one on. So literally, after being in the store for like 20 minutes, and I couldn't find what I needed, I had to ask somebody where it was. And I finally put my mask on because I felt completely out of place. I mean, no one said anything to me. No one gave me a hard time. You know, it was matter-of-factly for everybody. But since there were so many people still wearing them, I finally caved and put my mask on because I felt guilty, you know, for not having it on in front of everybody else. So, you know, I don't know. You look at places like Arizona, you look at places like Florida, you look at places like Texas, you know, the mask mandates are gone. People are living their lives. The coronavirus does not seem to be spreading any more there than it is anyplace else. So you have to wonder, when is our government finally going to give our freedom back? You looked at Dr. Fraudy, or whatever he is, Dr. Fauci, whatever the hell his name is, and you look at him and good old Dr. Fauci, you know, you don't have to wear masks. You need to wear masks. You don't have to wear masks. You need to wear one mask. You need to wear two masks. You need to wear three masks. I mean, it friggin' changes all the time. And you can't get an accurate answer from him or anybody else in this government about the whole mask mandate. I mean, the bottom line is, why do we even get the immunization? I mean, if you have this vaccination available, you've got all these people that are getting vaccinated. All right, there's no point of getting vaccinated unless we can get back to normal life. So you're telling everybody that, okay, well, you're going to get your vaccination, but you have to keep wearing your mask. You still have to social distance. Why fucking get it? What's the point? What's the point of getting it? I mean, I look at, again, at the state of Massachusetts where I live. Now, Governor Charlie Baker, as I call him, Governor Faker, he is a Republican in a sea of Democrats in the state. And he announced the other day that they hope to lift all, I guess, mandates on businesses by August 22nd. August 22nd. Now, if you know anything about Boston, Boston is literally the most beautiful city you will ever see in the months of May through early October. It is a beautiful city, beautiful buildings, old architecture, great Irish pubs on every corner, you know, the best baseball park in America. It is beautiful, right on the ocean. You cannot ask for a nicer city over the summer. In the winter, it's like being in Antarctica. It is miserable. It's cold. It's snowy. It's icy. It's minus whatever every friggin' day with the wind chill. It's a miserable place to be over the winter. I hate New England in the winter. I'm not a skier. I'm not a snowmobiler. I prefer warm weather. I don't know why I still live here, but I do. But Boston is a miserably cold place over the course of the winter. So Boston does most of its tourism over the summer. right? It makes sense. It's a beautiful city. Go to a Red Sox game, go out on the ocean. You could take little boat rides out to a lot of the islands off the city of Boston. You got Martha's Vineyard. You've got Cape Cod. I mean, it's just a beautiful place. You got the lakes and mountains of New Hampshire, the ocean in Maine. It's just a gorgeous place that you can go to where everything is like within like a 3-hour drive of itself. But so Governor Faker Baker is telling the businesses in Boston that he's not going to lift the mandates until basically the end of August. So the tourism season will be over. All the people that, would normally travel to Boston are now traveling to Newport, Rhode Island, because they actually have their businesses open. So these businesses that have been closed for over a year, restaurants are going out of business, hotels are going out of business, people can't feed their families, and the coronavirus is dropping like a rock. People are being vaccinated, the weather's getting nice. The governor of this state will still not commit to basically lifting the mandates until the end of August. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. I just do not get it. So I don't know. There's a lot of craziness going on in this country right now. But getting back to my original point is, and I'm going to close it up after I speak about this one more time, is America, we have to look closer. And if you're a Democrat and you're listening to me and you're sitting back going, oh, this Trump tard knows nothing. Here he goes, another moron talking about, being part of the Trump cult. Think about what's going on. I mean, Joe Biden, 84 million votes. Do you really believe in your heart of hearts that he got 84 million votes? My wife voted for Joe Biden. She sits back and says point blank, they cheated. There's no way he got 84 million votes. She voted for him. She voted for Biden. She didn't like Trump. Trump, the old comment, grab him by the pussy, didn't fly with my wife. So she ended up voting for Biden and didn't like Biden, but voted for him because she didn't like Trump. And here we are, 84 million votes, only 26 million people turned into his presidential address, the lowest rating in 30 years. Trump had 47 million, Obama had 60 million, and Biden had 26 million people. Of course, now when I posted that on TikTok, I've got people coming to me saying, well, you have to realize the Democrats care about the environment. A lot of us are cord cutters. We're all streaming our shows on YouTube TV. Well, guess what? I'm a borderline boomer, and I stream my fucking stuff on YouTube TV too, so I'm not that impressed that you're able to, cut the cable cords and go to YouTube TV. I do the same thing. But the bottom line is, you look at the different platforms that were available. And if you have YouTube TV, you can still turn into one of the major networks, and I'm sorry, but when you look at the ratings, 26 million, to me, that is another part of huge evidence that shows that this man did not have the type of support that our government is telling us. And again, if he had that type of support, you wouldn't have to section off the entire Washington, D.C. downtown area and have him doing his press conferences from wherever the hell he is, because he's not doing it from downtown D.C. God knows where he is. I'm sure Jen Psaki wakes him up, right before snack time and bingo. He gets his Depends changed and then, gives maybe a brief speech to the media. But you've got Jen Psaki, God knows where she is giving her speeches, but it's certainly not right in the heart of D.C. I mean, you've got people that live near the Capitol building, near the White House, that show the lights are off, the buildings are closed, nobody's there. And you have to wonder what actually is going on in this country. So if you're a Democrat and you aren't concerned by the fact that our government is cheating us, that our government is affecting the elections, and who knows, maybe they affected the Trump-Clinton election. I don't know. If they did, maybe they've been doing it all along. Maybe the whole democracy we have, the whole freedoms that we're being told about, maybe all of it is bullshit. If that's the case, where we are living is not this free country that we all believe in. Where we are living then is something similar to China, to Venezuela, to a communist dictatorship, North Korea. Where we're living is the same type of place where we truly have no freedom. We have no decisions whatsoever in which direction our country's going. All the decisions are being made for us, and the elections that we're voting in are completely manipulated. And if that's the type of country we all want, then we need to just sit back and just let it keep happening. But that's what most people do. Most people are happy to go to their job or collect their welfare and sit home and watch TV and do their thing and not really give a damn. But I think it's time the American people truly need to get woke and realize that we are literally little puppets on the end of strings, and you've got the powerful people in this government are basically playing us like little puppets. They're the puppet masters. We're the puppets. We're being separated. We're being divided. We're being fed things that aren't true. And our country that was once known as a free country is no longer free. It is no longer free. It isn't. It isn't. We are being lied to. And again, I don't care if it's Biden who's elected. I don't care if it's Trump that's elected. I don't care who gets elected. But I want it to be a person that is truly elected by the American people. And one of the things that we need to do, I've said this time and time again, is we need to get rid of these clowns in Congress. You know, we have term limits for the president, right? We have term limits for a lot of different areas of government. Why don't we have term limits for Congress? Why do we have people like Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, Mitch McConnell on the Republican side? Why do we have these people serving in Congress for 30, 40, 50 years? And they can basically do whatever the hell they want. They are stealing the American people's money. And they are not, none of them, not one of them cares about us. If any of you think, well, you know, the Democratic Party, they care about the people, they care about the poor. Okay, then why are there so many people living in tents in Los Angeles and San Francisco? If they care about the poor, why are people living on the streets in Los Angeles and San Francisco? Why, if they care about the people that are struggling in this country, why don't we have mental health services for the people that need it in this country? I take my walk every day out in Worcester, Massachusetts, and I see people who have special needs, who are living on the street. They have schizophrenia, they have autism, they have a variety of different things, and there is no one out there to help them. They're not getting the services they need. Where is our government? Where is our government that supposedly cares? They are supposed to care about these people, and when it comes down to it, they truly do not care, and the people are not getting the services they need. So that's the country we live in now, America, and do with it what you want. I'm an optimistic guy. I love this country. I believe the United States of America has the ability to be the greatest country in the world. We can be the beacon of light for the world, but it's not until we have an honest political system that that's ever going to happen. And we do not have an honest political system right now. We just do not. We do not. Our government is lying to us. The media is lying to us. And a vast majority of the people are believing everything that is fed to them. So I'm asking from all of you, for anyone that listened to my live today, for the people that will download my show and listen to the various different platforms, do your own research. Whether you're a Republican, whether you're a Democrat, whether you're an independent, look between the lines, read between the lines, look at the things that I'm being told to you, evaluate things like this speech. I mean, again, 84 million votes, and Biden drew the least number of viewers in his presidential address in 30 years. In 30 years. You might be happy. Well, we got Trump out. You know, that bastard kept saying, grab him by the pussy. I wanted him out. Well, you got him out. You got him out. And you get a guy in there now that most likely has a cognitive issue. I mean, I have a father that has early onset dementia. Joe Biden reminds me a lot of my father. So you've got a guy that's got dementia. We got him into office. Now we have a problem at the border. We're bombing Syria. North Korea is shooting missiles at our country again. You know, we're back to where we were 10 years ago. And I'm sorry, what's happening at the border? I mean, if you are a Republican, if you're a Democrat, I mean, if you're a human being, how can you not be upset by the number of children that are being abused at the border right now? Where the hell is Joe Biden? Where the hell is Kamala Harris? She's supposed to be handling this situation. All I can say is if I was president or if I was vice president, I would be down there. I would be down there and looking to help, give real help to the situation, not let these kids be abused like that's happening right now. What's happening right now is one of the worst things I've seen in American history, and it's happening to children. But how is it any different than all the sex trafficking we've seen at the hands of the wealthy, at the hands of the political leaders, at the hands of Hollywood, where these young children are being abused? And we are allowing it and tolerating it to happen. But God forbid, oh my God, if you happen to watch a TV show where the wrong thing is said, or if you have Aunt Jemima maple syrup or Uncle Ben's pancakes, or if you support a school that has a Native American mascot, oh, you're not woke, you're canceled. But you know what? Those kids that are being abused on the border, fuck them. Not our problem, right? Not our problem. So anyway, listen, I wanted to keep this short, so I'm going to wrap this thing up right now. For the people tuned in, thank you for coming into my rant. You can also listen to this on all the different podcasting platforms, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Spotify, et cetera, et cetera. But in closing, I just want to say, I love this country. I love America. I think it's an amazing place to live. And we right now have 336 million Americans that are allowing a couple hundred people to run us into the ground. And they're letting us and they're basically running our country into the ground. So, at some point, the people in this country need to take this country back and let the leaders of this country know this is the way things are going to run. Now, I don't know if you saw this really quickly before I get off, but in Utah yesterday, Mitt Romney literally got booed off stage. And Mitt Romney's a Republican. He was actually the governor of Massachusetts for a while. And what I have to say to Mitt Romney is, fuck you, Mitt Romney. You're a Republican. You're a disgrace to your party. And you completely threw our president under the bus. And what have you done that's been so special? So in his own state, he literally got booed off stage at a GOP convention. His career's over. Same thing for Mike Pence. Mike Pence, you screwed your president. And you did the same thing. And I've got nothing for you. You will never get my vote if you run for president. But I mean, a lot of them, Mitch McConnell, there's a lot of Republicans that all need to go. They've all been in office for year after year after year, just like Pelosi, Waters, Presley, all these different people. They all need to go. We need fresh blood in this country. We need 8-year term limits, 2 4-year term limits, and then get them the fuck out. So people cannot control all of us like they're doing right now. All right. So everybody, listen, I'm going to let you all go. Thanks for joining on this Sunday surprise show. I'm going to publish this, and I do appreciate everybody that came in. So if you missed the live, check it out on all the different podcasting platforms. And all I have to say before signing off is God bless America. I love this country, and I love all my listeners. So thank you for tuning in. Take care, everybody.